Are you thinking about selling your lakefront home here in East Tennessee during 2024? Let's talk a little bit about strategies for selling a lakefront home. Selling a lakefront home is going to be a little different than selling a home in town. More than likely, your buyer is going to be from out of state. And I know if you've moved here from out of state and bought a lake house, you're always thinking back to when you sold that last home. What did that realtor do? And we had an open house at my last home. We don't typically hold open houses on lake houses around here because if the buyer's going to be from out of state, they may not be able to come in during the open house time period. If you have an open house, obviously we can't control who's coming in. So a lot of times you're going to get looky-loos. You're going to get people who are wanting to see $1 million homes when they're not able to afford it. So in order to basically protect the privacy of you as the seller, we don't do open houses on lakefront homes. Kind of depending on the price range and the location, but as a general rule, we don't. Pricing your lakefront home is going to be different. If you're selling a home here in town, then obviously you're looking at sales in the subdivision, similar footprints, similar square footage, bedroom, bathroom count. But when you're selling a lakefront home, there's so many different things that go into that pricing strategy. Are you on the main channel or do you live in a cove? Do you have a dock? If you don't have a dock, can you put a dock? Are you going to be able to get a permit from TVA for a dock? What does the walk from your house down to that shoreline look like? Is it an easy walk that anybody could do? Is it steep? Do you have stairs going down to your dock in the water? There's just so many different factors. So when you're looking to price your lake house, we have to broaden the search. Number one, we're going to look in your subdivision, yes, but we're going to have to expand that and look at all homes on the lake to compare apples to apples, so to speak. The other thing we have to think about is staging your home to sell. Most of the time, the view and the lake frontage is what's going to sell that lake house. But at the same time, we want it to be visually appealing when the buyer walks through the front door. I'm going to be listing a lake house in the next few days, and when you open that front door and come into the foyer of the home, all you see is a wall of windows with the lake behind you. And that's that breathtaking moment for a buyer, so that you don't want anything obstructing that buyer walking in the door and being able to see the lake, because I can promise you they're going to stop and take a breath and just go, now that's what I'm talking about. That's what people want to see. So you don't want to have anything that's going to be sitting in front of those windows that's going to obstruct that buyer's view. You want to make sure that before your showings you have all your blinds open so that the view is evident from whatever room that buyer comes into. You also want to make sure that when your realtor comes, they're not pulling out their cell phone and taking photos. You want to make sure the realtor you hire to sell your lakefront home is using a professional photographer. Now, when I list a lakefront home, we do interior photos, we do aerial drone photos. I have the photographer do a Matterport tour, which is a 3D virtual tour of the home. So it's like you've dropped the buyer in the front door. They can walk through that house. They can view up to the ceiling. They can look down at the floors. They can look in every corner and crevice of that home. And that helps to attract your out-of-state buyers. That's going to pull them in. And 99% of the time, if an out-of-state buyer comes in that has viewed that 3D virtual tour, the showing they have of the home is like a second showing for them. They typically know everything about that home's floor plan, the layout. They're already picking out bedrooms. So it's a very useful tool when you're listing your lake house to have that 3D virtual tour done. We also have the photographer do a 60-second property video where they're highlighting the shoreline, they're highlighting the dock, they're highlighting the outside areas where you're going to be enjoying that lake view and the lake frontage. So all those things go into helping you attract that perfect buyer. Now, how do you market a lakefront home differently? Obviously, it's going on the MLS, and you're going to make sure that you're checking all those boxes that pertain to it being a lakefront home. But we go above and beyond that. That property video tour, we're going to be posting that on social media. We're going to boost those posts to help attract more people, let them see the video, and get them to schedule a showing. We are going to list it on lakehouse.com, Lake Homes USA, other websites that focus on waterfront properties. So if you ask the agent that you're interviewing, what's your marketing plan? How are you going to find the buyer for this house? And they can't outline 5 to 6 different things that they are going to be doing, places they're going to be advertising your home, you might want to talk to a different agent. Now, the last thing you need to remember is a lot of people will primarily buy lakefront homes as a second home or a vacation home. They may be retiring in the next 3 to 5 years, and this is a way for them to buy the home, enjoy it as a vacation home before they move there full time. So, a lot of times, buyers for lakefront homes may want to buy a fully furnished house because it saves them the expense of having to go out and buy furniture for a whole new home. So if they're looking at it as a second home, vacation home, it may help you get full price for your lake house if you're willing to sell it fully furnished. Now, obviously, there's going to be things inside your home that you're going to want to take with you, family photos, any heirloom pieces, things that just have sentimental value to you. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about bedrooms, couches, dining room sets, things like that. So those are just things to remember. Now, if you want to sell your lakefront home for the most money in the least amount of time, you need to make sure that you're talking to someone who has closed numerous lakefront properties in their real estate career. So if you're looking to sell your Cherokee lakefront home this year, I would love to come sit down and talk with you and help guide you through this process so that you can have your home sold and move on to that next chapter.